All right. Good morning to you all, and welcome to our free online training on the thriving business of wheat production. I'm Rawlings, your host, and I'm the host for today's insightful journey into the golden fields of wheat. And whether you're a seasoned farmer or you are just starting out, today's webinar will sow seeds of knowledge and cultivate your skills for a bountiful harvest. So let's plow ahead into an enriching experience. We are streaming live on the Agribusiness Media Facebook page. And please do note that we do have a question and answer segment, but we will have this after all our presenters have spoken. So if you do have any question for them, please do type in the chat function as soon as we enable this. And you can also type or comment if you're watching us live on the Agribusiness Media Facebook page. So joining us today, we do have Mr. Munamati from the Ministry of Agric, and who will share with us the state of preparedness as far as wheat production is concerned. We'll also have Edson Magaisa from Minerva Risk Advisors covering risk management. Wendy Madzura from SeedCo will take us through the varieties and good agronomic practices. We also have Susan from Purleigh Investments, and who will talk about how we can use solar for irrigation. And we have Taura Ndoro and Forward Makasi from CP Chemicals. They will help us to protect our wheat crop from weeds, pests, and diseases. So no doubt we do have the right experts to take us through the business of wheat production. So let's go straight into it. Our first presenter is Mr. Munamati from the Ministry of Agric, and he will share with us the wheat season state of preparedness in the form of a 5-minute video.
As a country, Zimbabwe has a comparative and competitive advantage this winter producing wheat rather than maize, with up to 120,000 available for wheat and only 3,200 hectares available for maize. Therefore, wheat should be the basis for our emergent food security and consequently food sovereignty plan this year. If we manage to grow 120,000 hectares of wheat at an average yield of 5 metric tons per hectare, it means some 600,000 metric tons of wheat can be produced, while for maize, only 10,000 metric tons can be produced by October 2024. So what are some of the measures that we have put in place to make sure that we achieve these targets? Number one, each province has been given a target to be achieved based on available functional irrigated area in the province as well as available water for irrigation. And these targets have further been broken down into districts according to their capacities. The second measure is that wheat is going to be grown under the following programs. The first program is NEAPS, National Enhanced Agricultural Productivity Scheme, where farmers are contracted and funded by banks like CBZ, AgroYield, NMB, and AFC. And these have a target of about 30,000 hectares. The second program is FCCA, Food Crops Contractors Association, and these are targeting 25,000 hectares. The third program is the ADA program, where ADA is going to do 2,000 hectares under its estates, as well as supporting irrigation schemes under PIP to the tune of 15,000 hectares. Then ADA is going to have the joint venture scheme, where 43,000 hectares are going to be put under this scheme to give ADA a total of 60,000 hectares. This means ADA is going to be the biggest player in this winter's wheat program, because if, for example, it manages to produce 300,000 metric tons, it means all that can be earmarked for the strategic grain reserve. The fourth program is the Presidential Inputs Program for individual smallholder farmers who do less than 5 hectares. And these are targeted for 5,000 hectares. Then obviously we've got the self-contracted or the self-funded farmers. The third measure is we have organized farmers into clusters. And this is meant to ring fence them for electricity. And we are glad that ZESA has promised to prioritize wheat farmers so that they irrigate adequately. So we are developing a map using GPS coordinates for each wheat farm. The fourth measure is that ZINWA, ADAS or Agritechs, Department of Irrigation, Department of Mechanization, our monitoring and evaluation section, these have teamed up to assess availability of adequate water for irrigation. This means farmers will have to grow hectarage according to the available water in their water sources. The fifth measure is that we have started what we call all stakeholder pre-planting meetings in all the wheat growing districts. This indicates a multi-sectoral approach towards attainment of food security in the country. So these meetings help to explain preparedness for the wheat season by all stakeholders, and farmers are able to interact with the various service providers as well as the various funders for this wheat program. The sixth measure is payment of outstanding monies for wheat farmers who delivered to Grain Marketing Board and have not yet been fully paid. The President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, has directed that these payments be done latest by the end of April 2024. This will allow our wheat farmers to to plant their wheat during the recommended window period of May. The other measure is that contracting of farmers and availing of inputs should be done on time for the wheat farmers. And we are saying this should be done this month of April and up to mid-May for those who would have provided them late. So these measures and many others will definitely allow us to meet the target of doing 120,000 hectares. So I would like to encourage our farmers to grow wheat this season, not only to do business, but this time around, this time of the drought, to also show the love for our country.
All right. Many thanks there, Mr. Mundamati, for such an enlightening presentation. Next, we do have Wendy Mazura. Wendy will introduce to us SeedCo varieties and the good agronomic practices. Wendy, the floor is yours.
A false start to the season, prolonged mid-season dry spells, premature termination of the season, heavy and persistent rains at harvesting. These are just but a few of the unforeseen weather vagaries associated with climate change that clouded the 2023-24 summer season. But farming is a profession of hope. With that said, we are now approaching the winter season, and with that, we also expect new prospects for increased productivity, as every cropping program brings with it new hope and a new lease of life, guided by the way in which we are going to manage it, and as well as the way we are going to establish our crops. My name is Wendy Mazura, and I'm going to be taking you through wheat variety selection and the good agronomic practices. Thank you so much, Agribusiness Media, for running this well-timed webinar, which also speaks to the preparedness of the farmer. As the common saying goes, fortune favors the prepared. So the presentation layout is going to be as follows. I'm going to take you through the importance of wheat production in Zimbabwe, after which we'll discuss climate, soil, and land preparation. We'll then get to the gist or the pith of the presentation, which will look at the varietal choice and seed rates, after which we'll discuss time of planting, irrigation scheduling and monitoring, hardening, before we discuss harvesting, because we want to give you the whole cropping program. So wheat is the second most important cereal crop after maize. With that said, in Zimbabwe, we consume around 360,000 metric tons of wheat, up to about 400,000 metric tons. However, in the past 2 seasons, we have seen that there has been an increase in wheat production in terms of the volume that we have done. So in the 2023-24 farming season, which is the 2023 winter season for wheat, we managed to achieve well above 460,000 metric tons of wheat, which is commendable because we managed to surpass all our previous records of wheat production in the country. So this is just to show that we have the potential, and together collectively, if we put our heads together, we can and we will. So the background in terms of the importance of wheat. Wheat is very important because it is used in a wide range of food options, whereby one of the main foods that we consume, which is bread, comes from wheat. So we need to make sure that we also speak in terms of the volumes produced to wheat production. The import bill for wheat was also in the past couple of years, has been also on the past couple of years on the high side, which is why it's important for us to continue to increase our local production so that we reduce the import bill and become food and flour self-sufficient, come food and flour surplus, so that we can also sell to other countries. We need to go back to the bread basket status that we used to hold, so that we continue in the growth trajectory that we have started as a nation in the agricultural sector. And this will then feed into the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG number 1, which speaks to no poverty, and SDG number 2, which speaks about zero hunger or poverty alleviation by 2030. So the climatic requirements for wheat are such that the crop is a temperate one. It is grown in winter. Successfully, it grows well. In summer, it tends to succumb to a high disease pressure, which is why even the summer wheat variety we have does not do well in terms of the yield. So it's adapted to a wide range of soils, but requires a pH level of 5.5 to 6.5 on the calcium chloride scale. However, the yield levels will also differ depending on the heat units associated with a given area, where you find that the low veld, even through winter, tends to be warmer. So they will get yields of around 4.5 to 7 tons per hectare, 7 to 10 tons in the middle veld, while the highest yields are expected in the high veld and most of the Mashonaland, the wheat production green belts. In terms of variety selection, it goes without saying that without starting with the right seed, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to make sure that we invest in the right seed technologies so that we get the much needed value both quantitatively and qualitatively. Yes, agriculture is dynamic. New climate smart varieties are continuously being developed, so we need to jump onto the bandwagon. Characteristics of good wheat include high yield potential. Why? Because everyone is in a business. So in the business of farming, yield becomes very, very critical. But coupled to that, the crop stature is also very important, where shorter statured varieties are also recommended. Disease resistance to tolerance. We also talk about that because it speaks to the cost structure, where you spend less if you invest in the right seed with tolerance to problematic diseases. Tolerance to moisture stress as well is also quite important, because in the growing environment, the environment is rarely uniform. So it's very important for us to have crops that don't easily give in to stress or pressure. Then in terms of the quality parameters, looking at your protein content, which should be well above 11%, and the test density, which is 78.1, above that, kgs per hectoliter, and the grain protein content, which should be well above 11, is highlighted above there. Then the gluten content should be above 25%. So it's very important for us to align in terms of the quality, because the market will then determine the prices that are going to come through if we do not also align to that. In terms of the varieties that are available on the market, SeedCo continues to invest in new seed technologies that avail both qualitative and quantitative advantages to the farmer. Bringing solutions to the farmer is our daily initiative, and we are driven to make sure that the farmer gets value. So with that said, Nduna, being a tried and tested variety over the past couple of years, it is one of our top performing varieties, uniform, stable across environments. But however, we have new blockbuster varieties, SC Select, which is wide seeded, short stature, disease tolerant and resistant, and it has the highest protein content of 13% with a wet gluten percentage of 32.5. We also find that SC Serena has taken the market by storm, whereby last year, those who established this variety recorded yields of well above 8 tons per hectare. It's a new blockbuster, with some farmers recording above 8.4. Purleigh Investments in Vuri Road, Bindura Road corner. And we also heard that some farmers in Goromonzi, 7.3 tons, Echivarize. At Pre-Cape Farm, they recorded a 9 ton per hectare crop. Both on their Serena and on the Nduna, the yields were also quite commendable. So about the summer wheat SC high is the one that we highlighted, that disease pressure is high in summer. So the yield level will be quite low. So we recommend wheat production to be done in winter. With that said, this well-timed webinar by Agribusiness, and mind you, they always bring relevant topics at the right time, which is to say they are customer-centric, and for them, the farmer is their top customer, them being farmers themselves. So the time of planting is very important. You need to make sure that you catch the wheat planting window. Why? Because if you catch the planting window, it means critical growth stages will coincide with the desired conditions of the environment or the weather conditions, whereby tillering, booting, heading, germination, all those critical stages from establishment right through to harvesting will coincide with the desired weather conditions. However, if you also plant early, farming tends to have a ripple effect. So you tend to harvest your wheat before the onset of the rains, which is to say you can come in earlier with your next crop, giving way to double cropping. And also the quality is maintained because you don't want sprouting of your wheat in the field, as this also affects the falling numbers, which is a quality parameter. So we recommend planting to be done from mid-April and the last week of May. However, the best yields have been achieved with plantings done in the first 2 weeks of May. Delayed planting also leads to a reduction in yield from the end of May. So these are just the growth stages before we get into the good agronomic practices that need to be employed in wheat production, where one of the critical stages after germination is tillering, where you find that at that stage, we recommend that you reduce your irrigation to halting it completely, whereby you starve your crop of moisture just to promote the tillering effect, whereby you are having more tillers per plant, as this also speaks to the number of heads that are going to come out of those tillers if they are reproductive. Then bearing in mind that you also need to employ and benchmark with other farmers, some farmers also come in with a roller at that tillering stage just to stress the crop a bit so that it tillers more. This is what other commercial farmers are doing. You can employ and you can benchmark and copy, because in agriculture, copying the right thing is recommended. Other stages like flowering, if they coincide with frost, they will be affected. But you need to make sure that each growth stage gets the desired conditions. Ripening, and if it rains, then you are found wanting. So these are just the stages of wheat production. In terms of the seed rates, the optimum plant population will be at around 220 to 250 plants per square meter. This speaks to 110 to 125, up to around 150 kgs per hectare. Some farmers are going well above that, but this should be guided by analysis of the cost benefit, whereby the yield should speak to the increase in the seed rate. In some instances, you might be incurring unjustified losses because farming is a business, so everything should speak to the dollar value and the return per dollar invested. The seed rate also speaks to the planting method used, whereby if you're using a Vicon spreader, you need to put in more, because a Vicon spreader is a broadcasting method of planting. But if you're coming in with precision, which we recommend, you come in with your seed drill, you can reduce your seed rate slightly, because at least you're putting in specialized or specific planting areas. In terms of land preparation, you need to attain a fine till. The seed for wheat is super small, so you don't want to stress the wheat seed by planting on undercloths or on cloths that are very big. You need to break the soil into the fine tilth that also gives good seed to soil contact. So the rains that we have received, be they late in terms of saving most of our summer crops, they are welcome for the winter crop because they are enabling good land preparation to be done. So we implore on our farmers to make sure that they do the land preparation that is desired or required of them at this particular time. Then you also need to aim to achieve a field capacity irrigation before you plant, so that when you then get into hardening, your crop will be, in terms of germination and the crop stand, it will be on point. Light irrigation is recommended when you're at around day 4 or 5, or just light disking so that you break the plow pen. There are very high heat units these days, so you don't want your crop to be struggling to emerge after germination. In terms of irrigation, this is very important, particularly this year, where water bodies might be found wanting. You don't want to establish an extensively large area which you will fail to irrigate. So 450 millimeters to 600 millimeters per hectare is recommended, which is 4.5 to 6 megaliters. So you need to check your water reserves before establishing your crop, instead of you then coming in at flowering with a stressed crop because you can't finish off to irrigate it. So make sure that you are also aligned accordingly. So these late rains that have come through, they are welcome, as they are also replenishing our water bodies. Then irrigation should be applied at critical stages from establishment, guided by the soil type and the stage of growth of the crop. Sandy soils tend to lose water faster, so you need to come in more frequently, day 7, day 9, with 30 to 35 millimeters, while clay and loam soils tend to hold more water. So you can come in at day 10 to day 14 in terms of cycles, applying 40 to 45 millimeters. Center pivot irrigation is also recommended, where you can come in with 22 millimeters every 5 days. But the only way you can check effectively is to use evaporation pans, and also use an auger, which you can also press into the soil before you irrigate and after you irrigate, to make sure that you are applying the desired amount of irrigation. Irrigation should be done, and make sure that you understand the dynamics of irrigation, because if your wheat crop is stressed, you'll be found wanting, even the head size will be compromised. So this is also important. Then crop hardening, painful as it may sound, is a critical or a necessary evil which promotes tillering. But this also speaks to the time of planting. Some farmers, they skip the hardening stage if their plantings come in a bit late, so that they catch the harvesting period. So they chase their crop fast so that they can also harvest earlier. However, we recommend time-years agronomic practices to be done, which also speaks to making sure that you are planting on time, so that the stages coincide with the correct conditions. With that said, you also need to make sure that when you're fertilizing, you also check the fertilizer requirement guided by NPK ratios, which today I'm sure other specialists here joined are going to also just give us some insights on that, and we'll also get an appreciation of a deeper understanding of the importance of soil fertility. Also to do with weed, pest, and disease control, we will get more insights from the speakers who are also a part of this panel. This panelist has done and is going to do a lot of justice to that. Then in terms of harvesting, the termination of irrigation should be guided by the tanning of the peduncle area, the area under the neck of the wheat, which turns yellow. This marks physiological maturity, but at that stage, moisture may still be well above 25%, which is to say you need to bring it further down. Harvesting should be done time-yearsly. Make sure that the combine harvester is well aligned. If it's servicing, it's well serviced. But you also, if you're going to rent or hire, make sure that you've hired already the harvester, so that you're not found wanting. And hand harvesting can be done, because nowadays wheat is not only for commercial farmers. So small-scale production farmers can also do in wetland areas wheat production and harvest by hand, where they can also invest in the shelling or threshing of the wheat. On that note, the summary of the presentation is that you need to plan ahead, be ahead of the game, because you cannot afford to have 2 consecutive seasons that are tricky on the score sheet, on the balance sheet. You need to make sure that at least you recover. And this winter season is affording you that opportunity. Make sure that you start with the right seed, start with the field capacity irrigation, ensure crown root development, timing of the last irrigation, particularly guided by the irrigation schedule. We don't want guesswork to merely look at the crop and say maybe it now needs irrigation. Make sure that you irrigate time-yearsly and with the right volumes and amounts of water. Thank you so much to Agribusiness Media for this opportunity to present. Remember, we are now available on all our digital platforms, social media platforms, where you can have discussions with us. You can also buy your seed online on the SeedCo online shop, which you can access on our website, www.seedcogroup.com, or you can also download the Sydney Agronomy app, which is an application brought about to bring convenience to every farmer at any point in time. You can download the application on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for your convenience. And at SeedCo, we believe that we are here to add solutions, add value in your cropping programs, because farming is a business that starts with identifying the right seed and, yes, of course, employing good agronomic practices. And you can get a lot of information from the agribusiness media channels, which are rich in all the field crop, horticulture information, and other technical information that is relevant. Thank you so much for awarding me this opportunity to present. If there are any questions, please send them through. I'll be happy to respond to them when I get the opportunity to do so. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant winter farming season. And please be sure to harvest your crops, your summer crops, the little ones that are there, or the bumper harvest that might be there if you're irrigating. Make sure that you harvest timelessly and guard the crops jealously, because theft is rampant this year. Farming is indeed a business. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks so much, Wendy, for such a wonderful presentation and for planting seeds of knowledge about wheat varieties and agronomic practices. Moving on, let's welcome Forward Makasi and Taura Indoro from CP Chemicals to take us through weed, pest, and disease management. Taurai and Forward, please share your strategies to protect our crops. You have 20 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Ronald. Yeah, good morning, farmers. Yeah, I'm Forward Marcus, the agronomist from CP Chemicals. CP Chemicals is a supplier of quality agrochemicals. That's your herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, the seed dressing chemicals, fumigants, and all other agricultural equipment. We have 3 branches in Harare at our head office in Mount Upton, at Seke, 112 Seke Road, Granite side, and another one is the showgrounds, operation ground. And we have branches, a branch in Bintura, Vuri, Karoi, and Chebutu. So we made it convenient for you to buy our products from all of those our branches. So as we approach the 2024 winter wheat planting season, with the national plan of going up to 120,000 hectares of wheat out of around 137,000 hectares available irrigable land, us as CP Chemicals, we are at the center of making sure that those 120,000 hectares of wheat are weed-free, disease-free, and pest-free to ensure a wheat-based food security to our country. So like in any crop, the crop protection starts from the seed. Yeah, so I will define for you what we call the agrochemicals. The agrochemicals, which are the various products that are used in agriculture, and they are designed to protect your crops from insects, diseases, and weeds. So as CP Chemicals, we provide one-stop crop protection solutions for various crops. And our products are found in different kinds of formulation, including the ESA formulations, SL formulations, SCS, this is on the slide. Yeah, so the first step is for the seed treatment. You need to treat your seed before planting. As you know, some of the farmers retain the seed from previous harvest. Some of the farmers don't buy their seed from the seed, or I'm sorry to say that, but they retain the seed from their harvested crop. So we encourage such type of farmers to treat that seed with seed dressing chemicals, which are important to protect the seed from pests and diseases. So we have your products, the seed dressing chemicals, to protect the seed against the certain pests, soil pests, and soil-borne diseases. So we have these products. We have the product that we call Seed Ultra 250 FS. This is a combination of imidacloprid plus difeconazole. This one is used at a rate of 300 mils plus 400 mils of water per 100 kg of seed. As you know, the planting rate of which we need 100 kg up to 120 kg of seed per hectare. So that product can cover the seed per hectare. We have another product we call Seed Gold 40 FS, which is a combination of pyram with thimethoxam. This one can protect your seed from diseases like lost smut and aphids. This one is applied at a rate of 750 ml to 1 liter per 100 kg of seed. It's enough for 1 hectare, right? Then we have another product that we call Seed Dress Plus 300 WS, which is a combination of metalaxyl, imidacloprid, and carbendazole. This one is used to protect your seed against the wireworms, the white grubs, cutworms, ants, and beetles. So with the seed dressing chemicals, this helps you to know that you are planting a disease-free seed, and your seed will be protected at the early stages, at the early growth stages, against those pests and diseases. So I'm now going on to the weed management. In wheat production, weed control is vital because weeds, they decrease the yields, they increase the production costs, and they interfere with harvest, which will result in lower product quality. Right? So we have a range of products to control the weeds. We categorize the weeds in broadleaf weeds and grass weeds, and also the volunteer maize. In that case, it will be a weed. So for broadleaf, we have MCPA. MCPA is used at 3 liters per hectare, and the product is applied when the crop is at 3 to 5 leaf stage. Yes, we have another product, the bendazole 48 EC, which is applied at a rate of 3 to 5 liters per hectare, and the product is applied at 3 to 4 leaf stage of crop, and the product suppresses the sedges. Again, we have the dicamba 480 SC, which is applied at a rate of 250 mils to 300 mils per hectare, and these weeds should not be more than 4 leaves. We have another herbicide for broadleaf weeds, the bromoxynil 500 EC. This one is applied at 1 liter per hectare and applied at 2 to 4 leaf stage of crop. Then we have a herbicide for control of the grass weeds, in which what we call phenoxapro. This one is applied with 300 mils per hectare and applied at 3 leaf stage of wheat. Then we can use again the product called Disarm, which is 240 EC and is applied at 335 mils per hectare and applied when the crop reaches at least 3 to 5 leaf stage. And then this product can use to control the volunteer maize in wheat. So when applying herbicides, farmers are recommended to stick to the recommended rates. You should apply following the guidelines on the label, so to ensure the effectiveness of the chemical. Yeah, so my friend Taurendo is taking you through the weed disease management. Oh, thank you. So, you to my friend Taurendo.
Okay, good morning, farmers. Okay, I'd like to thank you, Agribusiness Media, for this opportunity. So I'm gonna take you to disease and pest management. Okay, so wheat is susceptible to more than 30 diseases. Most significant threat to yield is foliar diseases. For example, which is normally powdery mildew. So foliar diseases need to be controlled.
Sorry, Taurai.
Yes.
I think there's some feedback. Maybe if you are using two devices, you may want to turn off the other one. There's some echo that's coming through. So we are not here.
Sir.
Sure, please.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
You
you.
can carry on.
Okay. So leaf diseases need to take consideration because they reduce the rate of photosynthesis. So it is necessary to control these diseases as they decrease the yield and also the grain quality. So the most important also is yellow rust, which is identified by parallel rows of yellowish orange colored pustules on leaves of adult plants. And also the other one, which I mentioned, powdery mildew, which are whitish powdered pustules on leaves. So at CP chemicals, we have got a wide range of chemicals that can help to control these diseases. Also, these chemicals can be used in rotation. Okay, we have got our propiconazole 25 EC and our Atlas 500 EC. Also, our tebuconazole 250 EC. Then our tridimenol 250 EC. Then our super top 3250 SC. Okay, so these chemicals, it is important to use those in rotation so that you avoid resistance of these diseases. And also it is important to have scouting on your fields so that your land is clear and free of diseases. Moving on to insects. Insects do not usually consider a major problem of wheat, but severity vary from year to year among geographic areas. Also, monoculture of small grains give rise to larger population of these insects. The most common ones include thrips, aphids, cutworms, armyworms, and also the cereal leaf beetle. Also, the other insects which affect our post-harvest, the flower beetles, or the LGB, and the weevils. So at CP Chemicals, we have a wide range of insecticides that can be used to control these insects, which consist of our imidacloprid 200 SL or 350 SC. We have got our Voltstar 70 EC. We also have our Horizon 46 SC, and also our acetamiprid 20 SC. Then our dimethoate 40 EC. So as I have mentioned, these insecticides also need to be used in rotation so that we can avoid resistance of these insecticides. Okay, so moving on to the next slide for growth regulators. We have also growth regulators at CP Chemicals, which include our clomequat, which is used at 2.5 liters per hectare. We also have ethaphone, which is used at 800 mils per hectare. Then with Psychocell, which is also used at 2.1 liters per hectare. So these growth regulators are very important to be used as they prevent lodging. Also, these growth regulators they create a uniform plants, which is easy to come up with your combined harvester when you are harvesting. And lastly, our last slide is on our bed repellent, where we have got our bed nest 50 WP, which is currently also on promotion, which is used at 10 kgs per hectare, and it can be mixed with 300 mils our CP water, which is a sticker. Yeah. So thank you very much. Visit us at CP Chemicals. The numbers are there on the screen, and also our email address. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much, Taurai and Forward, for such a good wonderful presentation and for sharing with us the latest strategies on crop protection. Now it's time for Susan from Purleigh Investments, and she will enlighten us on solar irrigation. Susan, we are eager to hear your innovative solutions.
Successful farming can only happen with irrigation security, and this is anchored by a reliable energy. So as Purleigh Investments, we are one of the leading players in the provision of electrical supply in Zimbabwe. The projects that we undertake, they seek to provide alternative energy assets to alleviate the current challenges we have of load shedding on farming operations. And I am happy as well with the first presenter from Ministry of Agriculture, who advised that there is some effort that has been made to ring fence electricity supply to farmers. And we come in now with these alternative energy solutions that are infused together with the electricity to give reliability to the growers. Our mission is to provide reliable, affordable, and sustainable solar energy solutions that empowers the growers, the farmers, to reduce their environmental impact and achieve energy independence. Effectively, they can plan their planting, irrigation schedules, and harvesting. We seek to revolutionize the energy sector and establish the solar power as the leading source of energy. In Zimbabwe, we take advantage of our abundant sunlight. Why should we go solar in Zimbabwe? In terms of our value proposition, we look at its reliability. The solar system are expected to drive the big loads, such as the water pumps, the production that happens on farming. The cost itself, we are cognizant of the fact that initial cost outlay is quite huge, and we have also partnered with some banks and some off-takers to have schemes in place to facilitate such investments. But whilst we appreciate the initial outlay, which is huge, we know that running on a solar plant is quite effective and cheaper. We work with payback periods of 3 to 5 years on the solutions that we design. And effectively, that will reduce the cost of electricity soon after the payback and therefore enhance profitability. Our products are suited for the mega commercial producers, large-scale producers, medium-scale producers, and so as the smallholder producers. We also look at those into commodities, whether it's dairy farming, poultry and piggery, or irrigated commodities. And on-farm processing, we're looking at grinding mills, processing of stock feed, or that we have solutions for such requirements. Our solar solutions, they do operate in two modes. We have what we call the off-grid operation, wherein we are saying there is no utility power available. We bring in the solar solutions that provide power for farming and all the other activities that we have highlighted earlier. And the on-grid operation, we are saying electricity is available, and we come in with solar systems. And what we do is during the day when we are running on our solar plants, we incorporate net metering. So all the excess power that is generated from the solar plants, it is then sent out to ZESA for virtual storage. We are grateful for that arrangement that government seeks to support the investment in the green energy. So effectively, we are saying a farmer should be able to export enough units that can then be drawn during the night when we are irrigating. Because at night, our solar panels will not produce, but we simply use the power that we would have sent out for virtual storage. Effectively, with such, we expect the farmers to be net exporters, and this would reduce significantly the bill and effectively aid on profitability. As Purleigh Investments, we assist our clients throughout the whole application process for net metering. And I'm also happy to advise that previously we would pay for the grid impact assessment, and government has also come in to support that acquisition of energy power by scraping that GIA fees. So we simply submit the GIA application, and there are no charges associated with that. In terms of finance options for our solar systems, we do have banks that we have partnered with that are already into agribusiness, and they are providing such finances to put up the solar systems. We also have some in-house arrangements, because we are also cognizant of those challenges of capital costs that we indicated. So these are on a case-by-case basis. And then we have some off-taker scheme arrangements as well, depending on which growers, who is the off-taker for your crops. And then we can also arrange for deductions at source. I have also captured some of the systems that we have done and they are running currently. We have the 1 megawatt solar irrigation system that is in Rafingora. It is irrigating 700 hectares with 11 center pivots. The water pumps are at 180 horsepower, and there are 6 of them. And that's what I have on the display. We also have another 800 kilowatt solar system, which is irrigating 600 hectares with 6 center pivots.
Thanks very much, Susan, for sharing with us such innovative solar solutions, and for irrigating our minds with such a wonderful presentation. Thank you. Next up is Edson Magaisa from Minerva Risk Advisors, and he will share with us how best we can manage risk in wheat farming. Edson, please do go for it.
All right. Good morning, farmers. I hope I find you well and in good health. So the previous presenters have talked of the right seed, the right variety, the high yielding seed. CP Chemicals talked of the right chemicals. Purleigh talked of the right irrigation systems. So as a farmer, you may do all what you can to best to get the right crop, to get the right yield, but there remains a huge threat, the uncontrolled risk, the unexpected perils, the acts of God that can potentially affect your good crop. So as we are coming from risk management and insurance solutions, what farmers can then do to mitigate against the effects of unexpected perils or acts of God. All right. So us as Minerva, we have been in business since 1947, and there are 3 companies within Minerva. But I am speaking on behalf of Minerva Risk Solutions. So we do crop insurance, short-term insurance products, property in insurance, mining risk, retail risk. So, but for today, I will mainly concentrate on what farmers can do in terms of crop insurance products. Then this is about Minerva. I think I will not talk much about the Minerva companies. You may then get to read it because I think I believe this presentation is also going to be shared to you. Then I think this is one of the awards that was given to Minerva Risk Solutions. So we believe in excellent service. We believe in professional service to all our clients and the farming community. Then this is our involvement in agriculture risk. So we do cereal crops mainly, horticulture, the tobacco crops, the farm comprehensive. So right now we are the biggest insurance and risk advisor for cereal crops, maize, soya, sorghum, and all the other cereal crops. We have provided solutions to the farming community. We have provided solutions to the contracting companies, to the financial institutions that are involved in the agriculture business. These are some of our clients. So right now we are dealing with over 12 contracting companies who are financing farmers in wheat production. And as you can see, we are also into barley, where we are offering solutions to the barley farmers. All right. This is the average hectare that we write per each season. And as you can see on the wheat barley there, it's plus or minus 30,000 hectares that we provide solutions. I heard the representative from the Ministry of Agriculture saying they are targeting plus or minus 120,000 hectares of wheat. But as you can see, we are also working towards getting all the farmers that are not yet that are not yet insured by the that have no form of any insurance policy. Because as you can see, paid to over 120,000. We still have a lot to do to educate wheat farmers on the need to have any insurance product. Okay, so this is a snapshot of what happened during the last winter season. It was a very bad season to the insurance industry. As you can see there, we facilitated payment of over 180 claims, and the payouts they will be coming to plus or minus 4.6 million. So this was a bad season. Those October rains, early October rains last year, that happened from around 15th of October, they caused a huge devastating effect to the wheat and the barley crop that was still to be harvested. And this was a bad season, but for the farmers who had insured their crop, they were then able to financially recover and pay off their loans. they actually had peace of mind knowing that any insurance policy would then bridge the financial gap. All right, so what value do we bring to the wheat growers? So like what I have said, we are insurance and risk management advisors. We structure insurance policies that are specific to the needs and wants of the farming community. We also prioritize security. We know how the market operates, where the risk is being placed at. We deal with external players, external reinsurers who offer capacity to the Zimbabwean market. And one of the things that we will also do is simplifying the fine print. So insurance is often misunderstood by the policyholders. They think that we are thieves, but I think it will also come to the fine print. When you buy any insurance policy, are you understanding what you are actually buying? So one of our roles as an insurance service provider is to simplify the fine print to the farming community. Then claims advocacy, again, the policyholder accuse us of not paying losses that would have happened. But it will also come to the fine print. Are you understanding the claims processes, the policy conditions, the policy warranties? But as Minerva, like the previous slide that I have shown you, we have capacity to advocate for you, to fully represent you when it comes to the claims payment. Then farmer education on the insurance workshops. This we can also do, like a picture that you see there. This was one of our field days where we get to meet farmers and we get to simplify insurance matters, monitoring of crop and actual on-site visits. So us as Minerva, we have invested heavily into agriculture business. We now have 3 agronomists, 3 resident agronomists who can also speak the farmer's language, who can also do some recommendations when we get to the farm. Hence, we then complete the full cycle of insurance and risk management processes. Then I think, why do you need to take out any insurance policy? So it provides financial protection to both growers and contractors in the event of natural perils, which can potentially reduce your targeted yields. It will also provide security, like if you want to borrow from a financial institution, you can actually use crop insurance as part of security. And lastly, it will also provide peace of mind and allows the farmer to concentrate on their core business. Then risk management. So insurance comes right at the tail end of risk management. You may do all the good agronomic practices. These are part of your risk management processes. But what we are saying is, if all fails, then insurance becomes the last resort. So this process really, it starts at the farm where you identify risks that you can absorb, risk that can then be passed on to the insurance market. You will then put control measures. How do you measure the risk? So this involves, I think, what is the best that the farmer can then do. So this is part of risk management. And I think outside the agri space, we also have a resident engineer who can also come to the farm, who can also analyze the non-agri risks that are at the farms. So we believe in risk management more than any insurance process. Then what products do we have on the barley and the wheat crop? So you can have 2 ways of covering your insurance policy. There is the input cost cover, where you can then decide I want to be covered for the production costs, for the input costs that I have put towards my crop. There is a policy that can then just cover the input costs should an insured should an insured event then happens. Your insurance policy, it will just pay for the production costs. Then there's what we call yield-based cover. This is where you then choose to cover the production costs plus the potential earnings or the potential profits that comes from that particular crop. So we call it, this is a yield-based cover, and this is a broader cover than the input cost cover. And all our farming clients, our contractors, we recommend that they go for the yield-based cover. And what is covered? So like what I have showed in the previous slide, there's a severe frost. This is a real risk. I think for the past 20 years that we have been in the agri space, this is the major risk. Frost at the critical stage of the plant, the critical stage of the growth. Frost is a real risk, which contributes to 60% of the reported claims. Then the pre-germination risk, like what I have said, due to the early rains, last year it was a huge disaster to the farmers that were not insured because they lost quality. Most of the barley wheat crop, it was rejected by the primary market. Some farmers ended up selling the rained wheat to the stock feed market, and you can imagine the amount of financial losses that were incurred by these farmers. Then fire is also a major threat, especially around the fire season from September, October. There, the hail, windstorm, flood damage. We also witnessed this risk when the early October rains pounded the country. Hail was an issue, windstorm, which caused the lodging of the crop. Again, I think it was one of the risks that was very active last winter season. Then I think what is not covered, generally bad agronomic practices are excluded from any crop in insurance policy. So like what I highlighted earlier on, farmers need to practice good agronomic practices. Insurance becomes a last resort when all else has actually failed. But otherwise, we do not also encourage bad farming practices. Insurers will not want to pay claims that involve bad agronomic practices. Then I think for quotation purposes, how do I get cover for the wheat or the barley crop? This is the information that we need for quotation purposes. We do have a proposal form that we can then share with you. You can actually put all the information shown there. Then we can give you a quotation. For this oncoming winter season, premium rates, it will range from a minimum of 1.8% of crop value to about 3% of the crop value. This will also depend on the loss experience on each and every individual farmer. So for the farmers that we currently have, we will then look at your loss experience to say, how have you claimed for the past 3 years? Then a rate will be applicable based on your loss experience. I think that's it from Minerva. This is our team there, led by Mrs. Lydia Tanyaniwa, who is our managing director. Thank you very much. I will entertain any questions after the presentation.
All right. Thanks very much, Edson, for such a wonderful presentation and for guiding us through the twists and turns of risk management. Your expertise is invaluable. We are now in the question and answer segment. And farmers, if you would like to receive a copy of the presentations, please do send us your email address. You can just type in the chat box there here on WhatsApp, or if you're watching us live on our Facebook page. So the same, if you have any question, please do use the chat function here on Zoom, or you can comment on our Facebook page. The first question that we do have here is from Rutendo. Rutendo says, CP Chemicals, you have listed a number of chemical solutions for a single problem, like on weed control, broadleaf weeds. You have listed a number of chemicals. Do we need to buy all of those, or is just one? I don't know, Ford, if you can take that one.
So those are the chemical options. You can choose one. So the prices are different. So it's all up to the farmer to choose which one should be the budget. But they are the chemical options.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much. The fifth question is to Edson. It says, thanks, Edson. What is the application deadline for this winter wheat season?
So for the upcoming winter season, we are also working within the recommended planting window periods, which is from 15 April to 31 May. So you can bring in your application between 15 April and 31 May.
Okay, all right, thanks. Then back to Susan. Susan, the question was, do you offer assessments to say if someone needs or is considering installing a solar system? Would you offer an assessment needs service?
Yes, sure. We do that. We do, yes, we do offer free assessments.
Another question is for CP Chemicals. It says, what chemical can I use to control narrow leaf weeds, such as Tsangadzi, in wheat production? Do we have any for what?
Oh, all right, thank you. So you can use phenoxaprom. It's 300 mils per hectare. Yeah, that one can control your grasses together with disarm. 335 mils per hectare, and it should be applied from 3-leaf stage up to 5-leaf stage.
All right. Then Edson, this is for you. It says, how long does it take to process a claim?
All right. So what normally happens is after any assessment of a particular claim, you have agreed with an assessor on the potential yield that have been lost. Yield sampling has been done. Then payment of a claim should not take more than 7 days.
Okay, all right.
Upon receipt of all the paperwork, payment should not take less than 7 days.
Okay, thank you. Then forward, I think this is for you. It says, can I plant wheat if I applied atrazine on the same land last season? Forward, if you can hear me.
Oh, yes. Hello?
Yes,
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can plant with atrazine only got residual for broadleaf crops.
Excellent. Thank you. Then, do you have foliar fertilizers for wheat? That's for you as well.
Or we do not have foliar fertilizers for wheat at the moment.
All right. Thank you. And then another question is, Susan, I have 20 hectares. I'm planning to grow wheat. What solution do I need in terms of size? That's another question for you there, Susan. Okay. All right, it's the network issue. Okay, then this one is for Edson. It says, do you cover in-transit or do you have in-transit cover for crops?
Yes, I think as I was presenting, transit risk is part of the perils that we also cover. So it starts from the farm upon then all the way to the delivery point. If anything happens along the way, then we will pay a transit claim.
Okay, all right, thanks. Then this one is for Taurai or forward. Can I use glyphosate as a pre-emergent herbicide in wheat?
Yes, glyphosate can be used as a bend down before planting.
Okay. I'll take this question for Edson. It says, what's not covered? I think you covered this in your presentation, or maybe they joined late.
So like what I said, bad agronomic practices, they are not covered by any insurance policy. Like if you plant after 31 May, we are not offering cover to farmers that do planting after 31 May. Then there are issues like your diseases, issues that you can manage basically. These are the things that are not covered by any insurance policy. Any insurance policy is basically there to cover acts of God, things which you are not in control of, like your frost, rain, hail damage, windstorm. Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much for clarifying on that one. Then I think another question. This is for Susan. Susan. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I think you can.
Okay,
Sure.
excellent. This question here says, Susan, please come again on net metering. What is it? How does it work?
Thank you. So net metering is an integration that we do of the solar plant onto the ZESA network, because when we do these solar irrigation systems, they are quite huge and it is not economic to bring in a battery backup, for example, running a 180 horsepower water pump. So effectively, what we do is we connect this solar plant onto ZESA so that all the excess power that we are going to be generating during the day, we export it for virtual storage. So ZESA is the one that takes the power for us. They record the number of units that we would have sent out. And effectively, during the night when we begin to irrigate, we are simply then drawing back that power that would have sent out during the day. Our value proposition there is for the farmer to be a net exporter. So what it means is we would have sent out more power than that which we draw, and effectively try to zeroize the electricity bill.
Excellent. Well explained there. Thank you. Then this one is for you forward. It says, can I have the correct spelling for Tsangadzi herbicide? The herbicide that they can use to control Tsangadzi. You can just shout out the name and type in the
herbicide that can.
Yeah, Karen?
It's phenoxaprop.
Okay, if you can maybe type in the chat box for them.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Then this one says, it was for Susan. Where's the question here? It was saying, Susan, I have 20 hectares. I'm planning to grow it. What solution do I need in terms of size?
Oh, okay. Thank you for that one. Because as we mainly come on the power side, so it is important for me to understand their water source, and then we know the size of the water pump required for them to be able to get water onto the field. And after that, that's when I can give a quote for the power. So I think what we can do is to have the respective farmer come to inbox, and then we can discuss further. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for taking that one, Susan. Then this one is for Edson. It says, I acknowledge insurance policy premiums are scenario dependent, but may the team advise indicative premium pricing figures? You may take us through a specific scenario. I think you mentioned something about the percentages. Perhaps if you can come again on that one, Edson.
All right. So like what I said, the minimum premiums for the upcoming season, they will start from 1.8% of the crop value. And what constitutes the crop value is the number of hectares times the selling price times the average yield. This is what we call the sum insured of a particular crop. Then if you apply the 1.8%, you will get the premium rating. But like what I said, this will also depends on the loss experience of each and every farmer. Someone can get a rate of 1.8% because of good performance. Someone can get a rate of 2.5% because probably they have claimed over the last 3 or 4 seasons that we have been having this particular farmer. But the minimum starts at 1.8% for the upcoming season.
Edson, any parting shot, a final word of wisdom that farmers can carry with them, or your contact details?
All right. I would say, as the farmers, as you go into the winter wheat season, you will never know what will happen until it happens. Get prepared, put measures to protect yourselves in the event of any unexpected perils. My contact number is 0775 212 946. Thanks.
All right, thanks very much. So the contact number for Edson again is 775-212-946. Edson is with Minerva Risk Advisors. Please do feel free to engage with him on matters to do with risk management. Then next is Susan, your parting shot and your contact details.
Thank you. I want to encourage all our great farmers to invest in these reliable, affordable, and sustainable solar energy solutions that empower them in their farming business and increase productivity. My contact numbers are 0772 716 108 or 0773 978 745. Happy farming.
All right, thanks so much. So Susan's contact, I got the last one, which is 773-978-745. So please feel free to engage with them. And remember, their assessment is free, so they don't charge for it. Please do engage them for your solar needs. Then next is forward. Then after forward, we hear from Taurai.
Thank you, farmers. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving us your time. Yeah, for all your crop chemicals requirements, please visit us at all our branches. Yeah, our phone numbers 0773 835 825. Yeah, visit our social media pages at CP Chemicals Facebook page, CP Chemicals Twitter. Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much. I don't know, Taurai, you have anything?
Okay, farmers. So it's Taurai. My contact details is 0779 445 605. All I can say is happy wheat farming. Any advice, come to us is CP Chemicals. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Taurai. A heartfelt thank you to all our sponsors. That is Minerva Risk Advisors, SeedCo, CP Chemicals, and Purleigh Investments. Your support has made this webinar event possible. And last but not least, would like to thank you all farmers for your participation and engagement. Your dedication to agriculture is the backbone of our food system. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Keep cultivating your knowledge and may your fields always be fertile. From us at Agribusiness Media, I'm Rawlings. Have a great one. Bye.